But today, we have an amazing personality, Brahmarishi Mohanji, who is going to be enlightening us with his philosophy, his truth about Guru. He is going to enlighten us with amazing information. And this gentleman is a very widely viewed on social media, on YouTube, with all the amazing work that he has been doing. Mohanji, without any further delay, I would like you to welcome on this platform of Healing Our Earth on this very auspicious day of Guru Purnima. Namaste, Mohanji.
Namaste. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for this opportunity. My gratitude to Healing Our Earth team and all of you. The question about Guru, I follow the tradition of Lord Dattatreya. So Dattatreya had 24 gurus. So basically, when somebody asked Dattatreya, who are you? He said, I am just a worshipper of nature. So the fundamental is that anything and everything around us are teaching us something. And the greatest and the highest guru is life itself. Life gives you lessons. And if you look at 24 hours, we have three distinct dimensions that we go through without any choice. One is the waking state, where we interact with the world outside. We gather experiences, we project ourselves into the world, and as per our projection, we get experiences. Then we enter into a state of the dreams, the dream state, where we completely shut off the world outside, close the eyes, then we go within the world inside. And then what we process are what is stored, what we have collected and stored. Then that also is shut down. Then we enter into a deep sleep state where we completely nullify all the experiences. So when awareness is connected to the physical level, we have waking state. When the awareness is connected to the mind matter, which is mind, intellect, ego. Mind processes emotions, intellect processes informations, ego processes things connected to ownership. When we connect to that, and then we are fully immersed in that, what is stored by these faculties inside, that comes alive. And then we connect to the consciousness aspect. We have deep sleep. We don't know whether we are a man or a woman. We don't know the time or space. We are completely not accessible to this world, or we don't have the world to access. Then again, we take a rebirth every day morning. We come back. So we go through this process almost like a pattern, and then we decide that we are this personality, what we have projected in the world, and then we are also trying to figure out what we are in this world based on our position and possessions. So at some point in time, we realize that this is not really giving us the whole satisfaction. We are actually roaming around for pleasures. But at some point in time, we realize there is something permanent and perpetual. That's a time when we start associating that the first level of physical, second level of the mind matter, and then the third level, the consciousness, where it has got three states. We start thinking about it. It is called manana, not dhyana, not meditation. It's contemplation. That is why various masters have time and again repeated, it is important to contemplate, not meditate. Meditation will happen spontaneously, but contemplation is very, very important. The more you contemplate, the more you realize there is somebody witnessing the whole show. And then it is a quest for knowing who is permanent, unshakable, witnessing this whole show and is always unattached. So this question happens inside, and then we start going within, and it's an inner journey. It's definitely not an outside journey. So as far as the tradition is concerned, the tradition that I follow is concerned, you got to find yourself. And that's the whole thing. When the student asks the teacher, I can't really understand all these scriptures. There are Upanishads, Vedas, Shrutis, Smritis, Puranas. It's terrible, too many things. And 33 crore gods. I can't really go through all this. I can't understand. Tell me in one word, what is this whole story? The teacher said, you. You are the whole story. Tat Tvam Asi. Then the quest is to find this you, who is actually actually making all these experience possible. And then that's the way the connection happens. So Dattatreya tradition is about like great masters of Dattatreya, where everybody knows Sai Baba. He stayed as a fakir, a Sufi saint, and he was living in one place, but his energy and power radiated in every places. So a perfect avaduta, fully turned the faculties like mind, intellect, and ego inward, and started finding himself, and then he finally found the soul aspect, the Atma Tattva, and stabilized there, settled down. Then what you see outside is your own reflection everywhere. So all the leaves, plants, trees, people, animals, birds, everything gives you a lesson because you see yourself in everything. And then you become one with the whole universe. So this is the Guru principle that we're talking about. Guru is definitely not just a human being. Of course, we talk about Lord Krishna as Jagat Guru, definitely, because he lived the detachment. When he was, what he lived is valid even now, because what he lived for, he was in everything, but he was in nothing. Perfect detachment. So like that, there has been masters who time and again came and displayed the possibility of existing without boundaries and full freedom. Freedom means freedom from the senses and mind, not freedom of the senses and mind. We have misunderstood this concept too much. When we talk about freedom, we talk about freedom to do anything we like, to do whatever it takes, or say whatever we say. Or when in the society, we can be ourselves as we are. That is not freedom. That is just an expression of patterns. What is freedom? Is freedom from senses and mind, where we do not have any kind of binding to anything around. So this is exactly the freedom which the masters have lived and expressed. So when you talk about Guru principle, the job of the Guru was to live it, and the job of the disciple was to connect to that principle of freedom and walk towards it inside, go within and find yourself. So this takes time. I was literally, I used to go to Himalayas quite often when I was working in a company as well. And I was trying to find out this me, and it took a long time. I did not have a personal guru at that time, but I connected to my spine, and then I was meditating, not exactly meditating, being aware of the spine. When I'm walking, when I'm doing things, I'm still aware of spine. And then automatically the things started shifting, awareness started shifting. It took many years. But the point I'm trying to tell is that if you really want to find your guru, you have to find yourself. If you found yourself, you found the guru. Then everything around is your guru. You will, all the gurus brighten up when you brighten up. So this is already sitting inside. So that is why Tat Tvam Asi has a lot of value. Means this is the fundamental principle of all the scriptures, and everything put together and made a juice out of it or crushed together, you get one thing called you. That is the final thing you can get. And when we walk this path, you don't think it will be easy, because our patterns are too strong. We have been used to so many things. We have been literally entertaining ourselves and our patterns for a long period of time. And we forgot that we are bound by patterns, bound by concepts, bound by prejudices. When we look at a person, we realize we decide that we don't like him or we like him. Something will happen. This is all connected to how we see the world. Basically, there are no enemies, there are no friends. It's just as it is. World is as it is. We all have our space. We all have our relevance, our activity. We have to do something here, and all that we are doing is projecting ourselves to the world and getting it back. That is what we are doing. But once you start assimilating yourself, once you find yourself, then you stop projecting. There is nothing to project. Instead, you start reflecting like a mirror. You will be like a mirror. When somebody comes in front, you reflect that without prejudices, without expectations, without any kind of flavors, as it is. So that makes you a perfect master. Total reflection. That is why great masters like Hadiyakan Baba said, when you come to me with anger, I become anger. When you come to me with love, I become love. That means you do not have flavors to project. Instead, you are being a reflection of the whole world. And that is very, very sincere. Sincere reflection. There's no flavor. and that is consistent, no change. So when you become like that, you become like a huge magnet, because you have no flavors. You become every flavor. You are everybody. You are everything. There is no discrimination. There is no, you see the Atma Tattva in everything, the soul particle, the soul factor in all things, and you connect to that. No barrier. So this is exactly what is the soul principle, and that is exactly what is Guru principle. So on Guru Purnima day, all I would like to tell is that whatever you are searching for is already within. And when you realize that thing, we call it self-realization. See, realization is only what you already have and what you realize at some point in time that you have it. So that's very simple. And all you need is to achieve that, you must spend time with yourself. Not in books, not in rituals, not in activities, not with people. You got to find time for yourself, assimilate yourself. Before all that, you need to accept yourself. Most of us have a big problem to accept ourselves. We judge ourselves, we criticize ourselves, we doubt ourselves. And that creates the distance between ourselves and us. We find it difficult to come within because our acceptance is conditional for ourselves. And then same thing gets reflected in the society. We don't accept everybody. We don't accept situations. Even we doubt. And then we sometimes have a lot of opinions. World is full of opinions, but we have to go beyond opinions and realize the truth. Opinions are flavored because they are situational and they are play of duality. But the reality is probably totally detached from opinions. So we got to really cut out all this kind of fringes, and then you come inside and then you feel, okay, I'm complete as it is. I'm unique. I'm neither higher nor lower nor equal to anybody. I'm unique, and this is exactly what I am supposed to express in this world, nothing more. And then you start connecting to yourself. So total acceptance is the first step, and complete liberation is the result. Thank you very much.
Namaste. Sorry, I just forgot to unmute myself. Mohanji, my God, that was so enlightening. I just couldn't, my eyes were glued on your eyes and trying to focus, listening to what you had to say. What an important message. But if I may, I have a few questions for you. Would that be okay?
Sure, please go ahead.
Sure. So you touched on some amazing concepts, and for you, this is obviously known, a day-to-day message for yourself, but for a viewer like myself or others, the concept of freedom from senses and mind is one of the most difficult things to go through. How would you recommend, in your capacity, what you do? You're such an inspirational person to the whole globe. How do you recommend this for individuals to go through?
Thank you very much. The first step is always acceptance, self-acceptance, self-respect, self-love. See, the most criticized person in our life is ourselves, by ourselves. We judge ourselves, we compare ourselves, we criticize ourselves, and we try to compete with other people, and then we dilute our uniqueness in that way. And that is the detrimental factor. You know, we say that I am not good enough because of X number of reasons. It's not true. We are good enough. We are unique. Nobody is like us. Our thumb impression is unique to ourselves. Retina of eyes are unique to ourselves. And we are a unique creation. This have to be accepted. There's no other way. And that is the first and primary step. The moment you start accepting ourselves, stop competing, stop comparing, then we start connecting with ourselves with wonder. Like a child, you know, when a small child is given a toy, the child will be touching the toy and feeling the toy and literally enjoying the toy for a long time. And then it's fully occupied with it, full concentration. Like that, we have to accept ourselves as a unique creation and start experiencing ourselves with wonder, not as somebody in the society. That is only when you are awake. But see, there is a thing called pratiti and anubhuti. They are two different things. Pratiti means we open our eyes and we see things outside and we connect to those things and we have an experience. But anubhuti means even if you close your eyes, you have that experience inside. Means you don't need an object. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you say, oh, I'm happy, I slept well. There was no material, there was no person, there was no interaction, but still you're happy. So we realize that for happiness, you don't really have to interact with the world. So that that kind of awareness takes you to yourself and you start exploring that aspect of yourself. That means these are all simple awareness, both that we should have. Awareness is the key. When we are aware of ourselves, when we accept our two A's, accept and be aware. Do that all the time when you're working, when you're traveling, when you're sitting in one place, when you're interacting. Just be aware how you are, what you are, and be fascinated by yourself. So then after a while, you will be fully connected to yourself and you will be very much linked and be happy with yourself. See, all our frustrations, anxieties, insecurities, everything is connected to the world outside. All of them will have no value anymore because we have a lot to see and a lot to feel inside. And that's the way we come inside. There are techniques defined by the various traditions, such as breath, concentrating on the heartbeat, concentrating on the breath, and also assimilating you're controlling your the pranayam kind of stuff. All those things are there. Anything which is suitable for you is good for you. That's no problem. But fundamentally, everything should start with acceptance. And there you go. And then be aware. When you're angry, be aware of anger. When you're jealous, be aware of jealousy. Be aware of jealousy. All these be aware, but do nothing about it. When you are constantly being aware, already you are a witness. You're taking a step backwards and seeing it. That thing loses intensity. When you are experiencing anger and you're witnessing anger, anger will happen, but you are not angry. This is the difference. So when you take one step backwards and start looking at it, you know that you are actually powerful. You're not a victim of all these emotions. Instead, you are experiencing all these emotions and you're still the same. You're completely a witness. This is possible. It takes time, but then this foremost step is acceptance. That is why I keep insisting on acceptance, because if you don't accept yourself, society will not accept ourselves. So this is as simple as that. When you look at the whole society, so many people love you, so many people hate you. So you have an element of non-acceptance, which is getting reflected. Whatever you get from the society is your own projections. And whatever that projection ends and then you become reflection, then the society loves you because they only see themselves in you. They don't see you. So there you become lovable. You're one with the world. You are part of the world, part of the universe, in fact. Everybody enjoys your presence because you are brightness. You're like a mirror.
Wow, that was a very strong answer. Something I picked up from there, Mohanji, was self-recognition, self-appreciation, self-approval. It is so vital to do that, to actually recognize yourself that you are the person you are. That's awesome. Now, it's interesting. This philosophy, this concept is amazing. I will read the message. I will take home this message. However, to live with this message on a day-to-day basis, how strongly do you feel the power of association is? Because if you engage with the like-minded people who think this philosophy, live this philosophy, breathe this philosophy, it's that much more easier to be with them, to think that way. Now, can you reflect your message on a day-to-day basis? Yes, what to do? How can we make this a part of our life, our breath?
Two parts to this question. One, I feel that we should not detach from anything. What comes our way, we must accept, because when we detach, there are two things happening. One is suppression, other is escapism. These two is equal to postponement. We are postponing that to another time. We should not postpone. When fears happen, look into the eyes of fears. When situations happen, accept them. Some situations may not be very easy to accept, but if you don't accept, they hang on, they stay, they persist. So whatever we resist, it persists. So I always recommend acceptance. Let everything come. We look into the eyes, bring it on, And that makes you free, liberated, because you're not hiding from anything. You're not avoiding things. You're not escaping, nor are you trying to manipulate things. It is as it is, we are taking it. And secondly, situations in life often we can't avoid, because many, like for example, workplace situations, how can we change it? So there, being yourself is the right answer. And always one thing, in every situation, we do not have to respond. There are two ways you can interact with a situation. One is to react emotionally, which we normally do. Egoistically, emotionally, we react, and the result is usually regret or guilt. The other way is to respond using the intellect and just taking it easy, taking a back foot and looking at it, and then responding with awareness, with intellect, so that it will not create emotions. These are the two major ways we can interact with the society. I always recommend responding, not reacting. Reacting always leaves some bad residue, which is not good. So if you constantly respond and you have your time, your space, and you respond, you are always light and free. And there, you do not have to handle so much of so much of hangover of regrets or guilt. So that, that itself saves a lot of time, because we handle a lot of these kind of things. So in the society, whatever happens, let it be. We are not trying to change it. We can't change it often. So we interact in our social life, in our family life, in the business life. It's all one life, but in all these situations, we are playing different roles. And in those roles, just be ourselves, keep responding, and our equilibrium, our inner stability, our peace quotient is very vital for us. The peace quotient, and that's inside us. We already have it. Peace is a state of the soul. Soul is always peaceful. Whatever emotions we go through, turbulences, situations, soul is not affected. So we are coming in contact with our inner core all the time, or just be reminded, oh, there is a situation inside which is completely unaffected, and try to imitate it. And then we respond and not react. And this is also connected to ownership a lot. Means we own our actions, think that I do it. This I factor is sometimes very painful. So instead, like Lord Krishna said, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthana adharmasya. That is what he said, is that I happen. He did not say I appear, I take birth. He said I happen. So life is about happening. Happening means you are actually happening, or the life is as it takes place, not that we create it. There is of course a history for everything. Something has produced this situation, and something will happen to this situation. There'll be a result, but at the same time, everything is at that time is sprouting. So we understand that, and we assimilate that, and we accept that, so that we are not the owner of action. The ownership of action creates pain, disappointments, and also karma. If there is no ownership, the karmic structure is different. When you do not own it and you're surrendered, that is kayena vacha manasendriya kind of a thing, you surrender, and there you are detached from your action, and you are flowing through it. And when you flow through it, you're always free. That is what Vyasa said when he ate all the sweets which the Vrajvasis brought, and because the Yamuna river was overflowing and Krishna was on the other side, and the Vrajvasis said, we want to cross to the other side, but we can't go. No boatman will take us because the river is overflowing. Vyasa asked, what did you bring for Krishna? So they said, we have all these sweets. So show me. They showed, and he ate half of it. And they were embarrassed to tell him not to eat because he's Vyasa. And then Vyasa said, come with me. And he reached the shore and said, if I have not eaten anything, let the river part. And the river parted. And the Vrajvasis went to the other side, and they were surprised. They saw in front of their eyes, he ate all the things. He ate all these sweets. And when they reached the other side and they were walking towards Krishna's place, Krishna was found on a bench in a garden. And they waited, and Krishna got up, and then Krishna was resting. He got up and he said, what did you bring? So he said, all these things. So he said, no, I can't eat them because my stomach is full. I ate the same thing a little while ago. That means when Vyasa was consuming, he was offering. So basically, it was going into the mouth of Vyasa, but it was going into the stomach of Krishna. So this is exactly the point. The point is that you are absolutely completely surrender to the existence, then the karma cannot take place. So the other side I'm saying is that when we know that everything is happening in life and you are completely floating through it like you are cruising, there will be turbulences, but it doesn't matter. The ownership and the pain connected will not be there. So
Thank you so much, Mohanji. This was an amazing tip that you've given. And this is why they say that we need a guru in life who can guide us properly. So these are some amazing tips that you've shared. Thank you very much for sharing this on the platform of Healing Our Earth and coming today to enlighten us. My humble obeisances to you.
Thanks to all of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.